All right. Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday, and welcome to Cultivating Conversations. I am your host, Stacy T. And Cultivating Conversations is a platform where we have thought provoking conversations that deal with love, life, the pursuit of happiness, everything in between. We have hard topics about the elephant in the room, the things that may be hard for us to discuss. CCTV is a safe space to have these conversations. And the whole purpose of this platform is to bring about change. My desire is to sow a seed because we know that in order for something to grow, you have to plant something. And in order to plant something, you need a seed. And in order for that seed to grow, the ground has to be cultivated. So it is my hope that after our talks, your hearts and your minds will be cultivated to have continuing conversations, whether it be with yourself, with the loved one, with a friend, a family. That's what Cultivating Conversations is about. Hey, Quinn. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. So I hope everyone has had a wonderful, wonderful week. A wonderful, wonderful week. If you're here, say hi. Say hi. Don't be shy. Say hi. Let me know who's up on here. Tonight is going to be good. Tonight is going to be good. I'm excited about this topic. I'm excited about this topic, and I'm trying to think about whether I'm going to do my little ad now. Okay, I'll do the intro first. I'll do the intro to what this episode is about, and then I will do my advertisement, and then we will jump right into it. So, this is episode 9. Welcome to episode 9 for those who are watching me live or watching the replay. Episode 9 is entitled, Let's Talk About Sexy. Hey, Michelle. Episode 9 is called Let's Talk About Sexy, right? So the inauguration. Our forever First Lady, Michelle Obama, she floored us all. Hey, Tamika, she floored us all when those doors opened at that inauguration. Honey, she stepped out and, she stepped out and she was there as the former first lady with her husband, the former first president. And all they had to do was, like everyone else did that came before them, and just walk down the stairs, wave to the people, and have a seat. And when she walked, hey, Auntie, when those doors opened, I mean, it was like, it was like everything just illuminated, and she stepped out with such elegance and such grace and such class. And I mean, I think that and she didn't say a word, and I think that just her aura, her persona, and how she carried herself was probably spoken of just as much as the inauguration in itself. And I don't think it had anything to do with or predominantly with her being a Black woman. And I mean, we're always glad to see, like, our forever POTUS and FLOTUS, right? Like, no matter what they do, we're always happy to see them. But it was like she was just floating on clouds, and she was just walking. And then you had Jennifer Lopez, and then you had our current First Lady, Joe Biden. I mean, just from their fashion attire, the poise, the elegance, it just captivated. I won't say captivated the room because it was outside, but it just captivated our TV screens, right? So I started thinking, like, she looked so regal, and she looked so sexy, and I mean, people could not stop talking about her, and the only thing that she showed was her eyes. So I wanted to do this episode about what is sexiness, because she looked sexy, she looked breathtaking, she looked like all of those things, and she didn't have to twerk and bust it down. She didn't have to have on nearly nothing and something tight. She didn't have to have a boob spilling out. She didn't have to do any of that. All she had to do is just be. It's just be. And I think that it just spoke to, I believe, the class, Like there is still space with everything that is going on and everything that is happening in the world, and how there's lawlessness and everyone just wants to live how they feel like it and do what they want, and just be half butt naked and do all of that stuff. There is still place for class, and there is place for class and sexiness without it being thottish and raunchy and just too much. And we saw a prime example of it on during the inauguration. So the question is, what is sexy? How do we define sexy? How can we redefine sexy? Why is sexy such a bad word? Especially, in the church. It's not something that is talked about. It's not something that I'm not going to say we gravitate to like we should, but it's not a conversation that is had amongst singles. It's not something that is generally talked about in depth with those who are getting married. And I can say that because I was once married. So I'm not speaking from a single standpoint where, I don't know the type of conversations. And let me just preface this. Let me put a disclaimer out there. All right. Because I'm not even fooling around with y'all. I'm talking about the church at large. The church at large. Say it with me. The church at large. Because we have platforms, we have social media, we have conversations with people who don't go to our local assembly, and we know the conversations that happen, the conversations that don't happen, the conversations that need to happen, the conversations that should happen, but that don't happen. So when I'm speaking, I'm talking about the church at large, the body of Christ. Okay. So tonight we're going to talk about what is sexiness? What is sexiness to us? How was it defined? How do we define it? How do you personally define it? How does the world define it? And the fine line that is drawn and where we shouldn't necessarily cross unless it's certain circumstances, like you married to your husband, like you listen. But outside of those confines, what is it? Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So before I jump in, I want to do a little advertisement. So I don't know if you can tell, but I got a new red lip, y'all. I got a new red lipstick. So I've had people, my friends, they talk to me, and they just talk about how this red lipstick is just popping. And I've come to grow to love red lipstick. I don't wear it all the time, but I do wear it. And my red lipstick was getting like really raggedy. My lipstick was getting raggedy. Do you know that you're supposed to throw your makeup out at certain times? Like you don't keep makeup for like 3 and 5 years and use the same thing because it goes bacteria. That was a little free. Anyway, so I have my good sis. Her name is Lipstick by Imani. I met her last year at in a virtual online Black business thing that we was doing, and she has her own lip line. So I ordered from her, and honey. So this color here is called Elegance. Now, let me just say that I was real upset because I didn't want to come on here looking like I was going to a job interview, but I'm running out of t-shirts. I need to build out a budget for my wardrobe for my podcast. I'm not saying for y'all, but for me, I need to like invest in some stuff. This is all I had. And I'm like, the shirt is tight. I got to do all of these acrobatic moves to put it on. I was irritated. But then when I was like, well, I'm putting on my Elegance lipstick, so I should look elegant. So I bought Elegance, and then I bought this poppin' pink. This color is called Fierce. Now, I have never wore pink lipstick in my life, but it's 2021. And I'm going to wear me some pink lipstick because I feel like it. And as Tabitha Brown would say, that's my business. I'm gonna wear me some red lipstick. So I put this lipstick on, the Elegance, and I will tell you that I feel like I don't have on anything. This lipstick has literally, I feel like it has melted into my lips. And there's been times when I've worn red lipstick and then I'll finish my lives and I'll go, because I have Invisalign. So I got these retainers in my mouth, and I will go to take the retainers out, and I would have like lip paint all over my, and I'm thinking like everyone saw it. I don't know if you saw it, but I saw it. I don't feel like that's gonna happen with this. And the other thing is I did not line my lips normally, because just trying to get into this red, I would normally line my lips with a brown lip pencil. I didn't do that. I took a chance, took a walk on the wild side, and I just used the red. It's a rich red. I feel like it's almost like a crimson type red. And because it's matte, it's not like so overpowering. So let me share her website with you all. This is her website, lipstickbyimani.com. She is a Black-owned business. She is now branching out. She was only doing lipsticks, but now I feel like my glasses be crooked. But now she's doing she's expanding her brand. So she's launching an eyeshadow palette. And let me tell you something, this eyeshadow palette looks so beautiful. The name of it is Vision Board, because we do our vision boards at the beginning of the year, but all of the names of the eyeshadows are inspirational. She believes in beauty flowing from the inside out, and I think that's why we mesh, because that's what IDB is about. So she's good people. Check her out. Her packaging comes, in a nice gold bag, and it comes with some inspiration. So my inspiration says, stay on the course, you got this. So stay focused and amaze yourself. Well, I think I'll amaze myself in my elegance and my fierce matte lipstick. Okay. She not only has matte lipstick, but she also has gloss. So check her out. And yeah, this concludes the first part of my advertisement. So hey, Keisha. So yeah, let's get into this conversation. Let's get into this conversation. Yes. And we're going to talk about that, Auntie. We're going to talk about that. So, hey, Maria. So let's talk about the definitions of sexy. Okay. The first definition, because I'm gonna do my homework. Hey, Mo. Everybody tell Mo happy birthday. Was your birthday this week or last week? Whatever, it's still January. Everybody tell Mo happy birthday. Monique House. Because all of the days run into each other, so I don't even know. But anyway, 2 definitions of sexy. The first definition is sexually attractive or exciting. Okay, and the words that are related to this particular definition of sexy is hot, sensual, inviting, erotic, arousing, and stimulating. Okay, that's the first definition. The second definition of sexy is exciting, appealing. That's the definition. So the words that are associated with that particular definition of sexy is interesting, intriguing, trendy, fashionable, and generally attractive or interesting. So I feel like all we see when it comes to sexy is having that negative, I don't want to say negative because it has its place, but having the connotation of relating to sex. If you're sexy, you are typically doing definition number 1. You are enticing, you are seducing, you are inviting, you are being lustful. We typically do not talk about it from a standpoint of the excitement, the mystery of a person. And to be quite honest, this, my opinion, there's two types of sexy. There's a sexy where you're trying, and then there's a sexy when you're not trying. And there hasn't been enough conversation around like just owning who you are without trying, being authentic. Like when you are authentic and when you are just who you are, that by itself has a sexiness to it where you don't even have to say the word. You don't have to try. You don't have to do anything. You can just be. And I feel like we don't talk about it enough because I guess people feel like they're going to veer into, you know, the sexual part of it and the enticing part of it and the lustful side of it that will cause you to fall into sin, but it's not necessarily so. I feel like this type of conversation is something that has been missed in the church, because when we're talking about, you know, God, and we're talking about who we are, we're talking about who we are in Christ, we try to omit the humanistic side of us. We are sojourners passing through. This place is in our home, and so on and so forth. We're spirit first, and this, that, and the third, but we're still human. I need my nails done. I just want to let y'all know that my nails look raggedy. We're still human. We're still human, and it's that human side that has not been talked about. So you have women who are churched, but they don't tap into that human side, and they are like, okay, for lack of a better phrase, they're caged animals, if you will. Okay. I'm gonna say we, because I don't want this to come off as like I'm being projecting and being self-righteous, because I'm a woman, right? But we can either we will not be who we are, and then when it's time for us to get married, we don't know what to do because we have turned off that side of us, and it has been taught and preached to us that it's so nasty, and it's just nasty, and it's filthy, and this and the third, and that has its place. But in marriage, it's beautiful. Hebrews talks about marriage is honorable and the bed is undefiled. But when you have been ingrained and all you know is what you constantly are taught, then you get married and you don't, we don't know how to be a wife to our husbands. We don't know how to flip between, the woman who is in church on her knees, praying, speaking in tongues, preaching, serving, doing all of this stuff, and then go home and be a wife in her totality. in her totality, we don't talk about it. We don't talk about it. But then on the flip side, you have the women that have been sheltered so much that I'm just gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm shaking stuff here. I'm shaking up the room. Like, I'm just gonna lose my mind. So the first man that comes, into the church, everybody running and flocking and politicking and scheming and so on and so forth, and whatever, or we sliding up in DMs and we're being unseemingly because we haven't talked about or been taught what sexiness is and how you own you. It's really about owning you and not trying to grasp someone. Okay, we don't talk about it. So yeah. So like I said, I did my homework, and I want to tell you, I want to ask a question. And I want you all to sound off. And I saw this question online, an editorial that I was looking when I was researching. What's more important, being sexy or being beautiful? In your opinion. And listen, no judgment, right? This is a safe space. No judgment. I'm just giving you what I got. I'm giving you, facts and opinions and things like that. So I'm not here to judge. I don't do that. So what's more important, being sexy or being beautiful? I want you. All right. Who else says both? Who else says both? I feel like I was yelling and I got a whole mic here. I got to get used to this. Which one is more important? Being sexy or being beautiful? Auntie Sandy said both. Okay. Kim says both. Gina says both. Okay. This is good. This is good. This is good, and it's honest and it's great. Because it's important. And when we talk about, and um I know that we the and T, I want you to tell me why you were torn at first, if you will, if you care to share, like share first. I think that the reason why we are torn is because, going back to my previous statement about, when we think about sexy, we automatically gravitate to what we see. What we see, which in my opinion is not sexy. It's not sexy. And I'm gonna go into some things that I found, because I'm not the only one, and I'm sure you all who agree, you're not the only one that would agree that what we see in music videos, and how women carry themselves, that's not sexy. That's right. That's exactly right. So I want to share this with you. Being beautiful is more relevant to what the person is. Sexy typically deals with interactions the woman may wait, what did I write? Sexy typically deals with interactions with the woman, and it's the interaction where a man would want to sleep with her. So sexy for a woman typically deals with the way that she comes across, where somebody will want to sleep with her, whereas beautiful is what the person is. So beautiful is what the person is, but sexy is what the person does. That's something that I caught offline. Beautiful brings a more serious attitude, and it may be one that somebody that's beautiful would be one that someone considers marrying. Okay. Yes, honestly, I was torn, because many view sexy, that's exactly what I said, and beauty can be in many different forms. Both are equally as important, and this is why I felt like it was so important to talk about this, because what we saw in our forever first lady, Michelle Obama, she exuded both. And she wasn't half butt naked doing a bust it down challenge and doing stuff. And I'm not coming for that, because, like I said, there's a time and a place for it. Okay. But I'm talking about when people are doing it for attention seeking, and just, uh, you know, less is more. Okay. Less is more. Right. Right. And see, and that's the other side of the coin. That is the other side of the coin, because there are those of us, and I say us as a collective because it ain't really me. Like, those of us, we're curvy anyway. So when we're talking about the how society views everything, how society views women, and we see it. Everybody, they're talking about getting the butt shots and the breast implants and getting the fat transfer from their stomach to their hips and their butt and their boobs and doing all of this stuff. That's what is blatantly in our face. So those who have it naturally, they've been blessed naturally, hallelujah. It's like, no, there's more to me than that. And I think, again, just going back to Michelle Obama, I feel like we have the potential to normalize what being sexy is, coming from a place of being confident. Being confident in who you are, because honestly, that is what is sexy. Confidence is sexy, and I feel like that's like a cliche or a saying. Yes, sexy and beautiful is a package and can work together if you know how to work it. If you know who you are, and that's what this whole thing is about. That is what it boils down to. That is what it boils down to. I'm gonna hit you with the headliner before I even finish to get to the end. At the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. It boils down to confidence in you knowing who you are. There is nothing more sexier than that, whether it be a man or a woman. I'm talking about women because talk about sex, or sexiness rather, it's more female driven because men are visual and it's the woman that the man is looking at, right? So wait, okay, what? Let me read what Sandy said. One morning I was looking beat, hair on top of my head, in a t-shirt, nightgown, bra, and panties. I preface them because we all know usually t-shirt, nightgowns are void of either bra, panties, or both. And walked into the living room, and my husband said to me, "You are a sensual woman." And I looked at him puzzled. He looked at my facial expressions and said, "Your aura, ma." I'm telling you, he had game. But okay, so that's a good segue. That is a good segue. So I went looking because I didn't want to just be on here rattling my opinion, even though I value my opinion if nobody else does. But I wanted to get some information to see what has been said out there. So I found this article from Elite Daily, and the title of the article was 9 Non-Sexual Things That Make a Woman Sexy to a Man. Okay? 9 non-sexual things that make a woman sexy to a man. Number 1, the way she walks. Okay. I can imagine it ain't about you walking with your head down. And again, it's not even about you trying to what did my children call like women who or girls, whatever, who walk with like they got like the concurve. I think it's called lumbar lordosis or something like that. They be talking. But basically, it's not even about you trying to stick your butt out and do an extra strut. Just by the way you walk. You can walk into a room and not say a word and demand attention, just like Michelle Obama did. Like, she's going to be my point of reference all night because the whole world saw it and the whole world cannot deny it. She walked down them steps like, and it was effortless. Okay, so 9 non-sexual things that make a woman sexy to a man. 1, the way she walks. 2, the way her eyes don't look at you but into you. Okay, this is coming from men. Number 3, the confidence she has in all the things she does. I know for men, a woman who is confident, not talking about cocky, but a woman who is confident is I don't want to say turn on because I don't want to do that and then y'all be rebuking me, but it grabs the man's attention. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for helping me clean that up, Jesus. It grabs the man's attention when a woman is confident. Okay, the way she walks, the way her eyes look at you but not into you, the way her eyes don't look at you but into you, like she's paying attention. 3, the confidence she has in all the things she does. 4, how she always manages to find time to help those closest to her. I want you to hang on to these because I found it so refreshing how these characteristics lined up with the Proverbs 31 woman. And this was not a Christian editorial. It was just a regular editorial, but I'm looking at this and I'm like, wow, there's some highlights, with certain scripture verses in Proverbs 31. So 4, she always manages to find time to help those closest to her. 5, how passionately she lives her life. And a lot of times, and with us as women, we feel like we need to wait until we are married to do certain things. I've heard so many. I've just heard like young women, even older women, like there's certain things that they won't do. There's certain places they won't go. They won't take any trips. They won't go on vacations. They won't do things until they get a mate because they feel like they can't do it until they get somebody. And then what ends up happening is you invest all of your time in this person to help you catch up life. And don't get me wrong, when two people come together, they're supposed to enjoy life and things like that. But it's almost like you're forcing somebody to play catch up to do things that you should have done on your own, because it's just a part of the revelation of finding yourself. When you date somebody, when you get married, what kind of experiences do you have to talk to them about? When you're out here, and you're taking pictures. And let me tell you something. Let me pause here. I'm not trying to act like a relationship coach. I ain't on here trying to tell you how to hustle and catch a man. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about us and who we are, as whether you're single or whether you're married, because there's some women, going back to what I said in the beginning, they are married and they don't know how to tap into that sex appeal because they've grown up or been in an environment that it was spoken so negatively against, and there wasn't deep counsel about how to do and be that they're struggling, and their marriages are struggling, and their husbands are struggling. And it's one big struggle fest because they haven't found their niche, if you will. Okay. So I just wanted to put in that little caveat because I don't want nobody soundbiting me talking about shit on here talking about dating and singleness. And I mean, I am talking about singleness and a little bit of dating, but not like that. Okay. So yeah, how passionately she lives her life. Okay. Live your life. Live your life. I remember in 2012, I got on a plane and I went to a whole nother continent by myself, by my good old self. I left the continent of the United States and went to Asia. This Black woman by herself. I ate at steakhouses on my birthday by myself. I you couldn't tell me nothing. You could not tell me nothing. I met one of my former colleagues. She was on Hong Kong Island, and she was like, come to Hong Kong Island. And I'm like, okay. Like, I was jumping on the 6 train and going down to 125th Street. I'm walking through the streets of Hong Kong with my little dress on, and I get on the ferry. I don't know where I'm going. I just got the directions. Like, it was just so, these are the things that give you confidence. That give you confidence, okay? And live passionately in all of that good stuff. So also so that was 5, how passionately she lives her life. Number 6, how she makes you want to be a better person. And how can you make someone want to be a better person if you don't know who you are yourself? All of these things go right back to confidence. Self-confidence. Okay. Number 7, the way she listens. Number 8, the way she shares. And number 9, the way she loves. What was the driving theme for all 9 of those characteristics that I got out of this article? What are the driving things? What is the driving theme? What is the thread, the common thread, the point in all of that? Toni said you have to have a versatile base of knowledge of your own to conversate about, having some knowledge about things he may not know about, right? And vice versa. And vice versa. I was in this room, and I'm gonna get into like the whole what it means. I was in this room on Clubhouse, and we were talking about dating as Black professionals, and the conversation just did a detour, and this guy was talking about how how he was in his 40s and how, because the conversation about like looks and physicality and all of that. Is physicality a word? Anyway, the physical attributes of a woman and a person, and what we look for and what we want, and so on and so forth, like it always comes up. And this guy was saying, he said, he's in his 40s, and how what he wanted in his 20s has changed since being in his 40s. Like all of the beauty and all of that, like that's cute, but at the end of the day, he's at the point where, if I be with you, are we going to be together for the long run? Like, are we going to be in our 80s still celebrating our marriage? And this was coming from a man, a black man. Like, these were the thoughts that he had, because COVID is causing a lot of people to really think and reflect on their decision making and what they thought they wanted and all of that stuff. So one of the things that he had mentioned, he was like, I don't even want a woman like all of that, like lips and hips and all that. He was like, if you out here on Instagram and you thirst trapping with thongs and bathing suits and stuff, he was like, I'm not even following you. That came from a black man. First of all, let me pause and say that was so refreshing to hear, a man actually say that. Okay. It wasn't even about the eye candy for him anymore. He was like, if that is the caliber of woman that you are, I'm not even following you. I'm not liking your pictures, because that's not what I'm looking for. I want to enjoy the chase. I want to know that, you can, and he was a Christian. You can be that Christian woman, and you can pray and you can do all of that stuff. But when we get married and you take off your clothes, this is what he's saying. I'm like, oh, word? Like, I didn't know you had all of that, because there was a mystery. There was a modesty about you. You just wasn't out here looking loose. And that came from a man. And that just goes to show, back to the driving point and back to the driving thread through all of these 9 characteristics men have said that make women sexy to them without being sexual, is there was nothing about bust size. There wasn't nothing about how fat your booty is. Inhale and exhale. I know this is a lot, but this is what I do. This is how I do. This is what Cultivating Conversations is about. It wasn't about all of that, the small waist, the silhouette. It wasn't about none of that. It wasn't about the texture of your hair, and it wasn't about none of that. It was about the characteristics. It was about the intellect. It was about how you moved, and how you moved rather than how your body moved. That's a word right there. You know what? I think I gotta write that down. I ain't gonna write it down now. I'm gonna go and watch my own replay. But that's what that was about, and contrary to popular belief, contrary to what we see in social society, most men, a good man, like a good, like a man, not a male. Not a male, but a man, they are looking for a woman who will encompass all of that without giving it all to the world. When is my comedy show coming out? Okay, all right. Let me tell you something. So I'm in seminary, right? I know I'm talking about fat booty and all of that, and I'm in seminary. Yep. And one of my classes, I have to do a 5-minute comedy stand-up. I was like, what? I got to do a 5-minute comedy stand-up. Now, I'm like, Lord, I know you got a sense of humor, but what? It's funny. It's for an advanced communication class. Anyway, TMI, too much information. Too much information. Hi, Pink Panther. Not sure who you are, but thanks for joining. Okay, so I found another article, because now I was just like searching all over the place. I found another article that spoke to the same thing. How men view women. Like, what things does a man feel is sexy about a woman without sex? And that's on period. That is on, period. So this was from Yo Tengo. Yo Tengo. I don't know if it was Spanish, but I feel like Yo Tengo was Yo Tengo. So this is what men felt was sexy about a woman that had nothing to do with sex. Okay. Your confidence, your smile, your strength. What they also felt was you are magnetic. You are magnetic. They're drawn to you. You are fun. You are independent. You have strength and integrity. You are vulnerable and open. You are feminine and you are nurturing. When you are these things, that's what men think is sexy without sex. Again, none of these have anything to do with sex. None of these have anything to do with, I'm trying to, get it on and popping. Has nothing to do with any of that. No, it's tango. Tango, not tango. I probably said it like that, but it's yo tango. Tango. Yeah, so let's tie this in with scripture, because somebody might watch this and just be seething, like, she being real worldly, like, what is happening? Where's the scripture? Because we always like to tie things up with scripture, as we should. So going back to what I said about the first article, right? The first article, I feel like it tied a lot into the Proverbs 31 woman. So now we're going to go into scripture, because we got to tie it in. We got to tie it in, because I would want us to normalize sexy and what it looks like, and changing the narrative. You've heard me say that, changing the narrative, and knowing that sexiness is not about I'm getting ahead of myself. It's not about doing, it's just about being. It's not something that you have to speak to. It's not something that you have to do. You just be, and it just is. It just is. Hey, Sissy. Hey, Serena. So, just for you all to catch up. So we're talking about what is sexy. We unpacked a lot of things. So y'all are going to have to catch the replay, because there were 2 articles that I spoke to that surveyed men, where they talked about what they felt was sexy about a woman without having anything to do with sex. Okay. So Auntie, yes, Song of Solomon and this is my point. I'm yelling. Stop yelling. This is my point, right? We have vilified sex. We vilified sex in the church at large. Don't even try to come for me, because I'm not doing that. We have at large vilified sex so much that we don't even realize that the Song of Solomon was a whole scene in a situation. The Song of Solomon is a whole scene and a situation. There is stuff in that book that yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Okay. So, this shouldn't be foreign to us. It shouldn't be foreign to us. It should not. But anyway, going back to Proverbs. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 6 verses that I want to pull out. Sissy, I spoke about, and I'll share it at the end. Black Beauty brand that I got the lipstick from. I'll share it at the end. there are certain scriptures in Proverbs 31 that I want to pull out that talks about the woman, right? So Proverbs 31 talks about the virtuous woman. And a lot of times, most times, all the times that I could think about, when we reference Proverbs 31, it's always from a point of how you should be as a wife. Always, and rightfully so, because there are scriptures that talk about, her taking care of her family and her husband being highly respected because of her life and her witness and how she conducts herself. But I just saw it differently today when I was doing my research, because it just spoke to just being a lady in general. All right, so I'm going to read a couple of verses from Proverbs 31 from the Amplified version, because the Amplified version be doing the most, and I was here for it. And so that's the version that I chose. Okay, so and I find it interesting because the Amplified version of Proverbs 31, the title is Description of a Worthy Woman. Okay. And I think in the King James version, it talks about a virtuous woman. Okay. It doesn't say a wife. It says a virtuous woman and a worthy woman. So I think that's even something that we can go into, but I ain't here to do Bible study. So Proverbs 31:10. An excellent woman, one who is spiritual, capable, intelligent, and virtuous. Who is he who can find her? So an excellent woman, one who is spiritual, capable, intelligent, and virtuous. Who is he who can find her? Okay? Spiritual, capable, intelligent, and virtuous. All of these characteristics, okay? That was Proverbs 31:10. Proverbs 31:17. She equips herself with strength, spiritual, mental, and physical fitness for her God-given task. I'm gonna read all these scriptures twice. She equips herself with strength, spiritual, mental, and physical fitness for her God-given task. The whole trichotomy of a person: body, soul, and spirit. Her mind, her mental, her spiritually and physically. Okay, she's well-rounded. Okay, that was verse 17. Verse 25, and this is the Amplified version. Strength and dignity are her clothing, and her position is strong and secure. And she smiles at the future, knowing that she and her family are prepared. Okay. That's verse 25. I'm gonna read it in the KJV because this is going to be one of my favorite scriptures, so much that I actually have this on my wall. Every morning I get up, that's the scripture that I see, and it's a reminder to me about who I am. The King James version says, "She is clothed in strength and dignity, and she laughs without fear of the future." Okay, again, the Amplified. Strength and dignity are her clothing. Strength and dignity are her clothing, not thongs, not bodycon, everything. Like we can see your thoughts and your prayers. Well, not your prayers. We can see your thoughts and everything that goes along with them. Like that's not what she's clothed with. The woman who is worthy is clothed with strength and dignity, and her position is strong and secure. There's nothing more sexy than a woman who is clothed with dignity, with integrity. She knows who she is. She knows how to act. She knows how to treat people. She is strong. strong, not yes. It's an inward adorning. It comes from the inside out. It's not dressed up cosmetically from the outside. Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna read that again. Strength and dignity are her clothing, and her position is strong and secure. And she smiles at the future, knowing that she and her family are prepared. Okay. Um, and when we're talking about like sexiness and we're talking about women, that is an excellent scripture even for the single mother. Because, and I'll get into that next month, I may have to make a note of this particular scripture excuse me, for next month. When you are no longer with the person that you're with, and you go through divorce and you go through heartache and stuff like that, it's hard for you to find your sexiness. And a lot of times when our pain speaks, I don't want to get into next month, but when our pain speaks, we feel like we have to validate and overcompensate and prove to the world how sexy we are and how wanted we are. And we try to speak with our body rather than allowing who we are inwardly to speak for us, because we want that attention, because we want that validation. But the Bible says, I feel to preach. She smiles at the future, knowing that she and her family are prepared. Okay. Verse 26, she opens her mouth in skillful and godly wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue, giving counsel and instruction. I know there are men who have talked about how they have met a woman that when they looked at her, she was absolutely breathtaking. And when she opened up her mouth, it sucked the air out of the room. And she was no longer as appealing as she originally was. And some women may think that they will, their physique and how they look will overcompensate, you know, with a man. But I believe, and I've heard it from actual men, that that compensation is only temporary. The man will do and get what he needs to get, and he will be out. It won't be long term. It won't be long term. Men want women that know how to speak, and speak kindly, and not be brash, and whatever. Like that's what this is talking about. She opens her mouth in full, skillful and godly wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue, giving counsel and instruction. It's nothing sexy about a gossiping woman. Proverbs talks a lot about gossiping women and how it's just not attractive at all. It's actually ungodly and can be borderline deadly, if you will, depending on, who you're talking about. That's right. How about that? How about that? And I hear you saying this. How about that? And there's nothing wrong with that. And it doesn't mean that you're thirst trapping. It doesn't mean that you out here trying to, gain followers and do all of this stuff. You're just confident in who you are. Period. Okay. Last two scriptures, Proverbs 31, verses 30 and 31. And this is the end of the Proverbs 31 chapter. Okay. Okay. Charm and grace are deceptive and superficial. Beauty is vain. But a woman who fears the Lord, reverently worshiping, obeying, serving, and trusting him with awe-filled respect, she shall be praised. Give her the product of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. Okay? Charm and grace are deceptive and superficial. Beauty is is vain, excuse me. But a woman who fears the Lord, reverently worshiping, obeying, serving, and trusting him with awe-filled respect, she shall be praised. Give her of the product of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates of the city. And this is particularly speaking to women in the church. No, a man, a real authentic man of God does not want a woman who is cackling and gossiping in the corner, giving the latest tea about what they heard and who did what and what did where. Don't a man want to be bothered with that? No, 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 no real man. A male, maybe, but a real man doesn't want that. So it's we can't just ride on the skirt tail of the virtuous woman, and yes, modesty and integrity and strength and inner beauty and all of those things, but that is what makes a woman sexy. That and again, for those of you who came late, let me just go back to the two definitions of sexy. Okay. um the first definition of sexy, for those of you who came late, the first definition is sexually attractive or exciting or seductive. And the words related to that definition of sexy is hot, sensual, inviting, erotic, arousing, and stimulating. So that is speaking to those who are being sexy, or doing, I'm sorry, doing what they need to do to look sexy. Okay, because the whole motive, and again, I talk a lot about motives on this platform. Motives are everything. The motive is to gain the attention, whether it's one man, a bunch of men, just to make yourself feel good and get a compliment or whatever. That's the doing to be sexy. Okay. The second definition is exciting, appealing, interesting, intriguing, trendy, fashionable. Okay. Generally attractive or interesting. So there are two definitions of sexy. We've only focused on one. We've only focused on one. We've only talked about one. We've only exerted our energy towards one. You know what, Toni? Yes. Okay. I gotta put this up because me and her had a conversation. Yes. I'm gonna hit it. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. Yeah, that's there's two definitions, but we only focus on one, and we put this mindset, this thing in this place where it's negative. But it's not negative. It's not negative. Anybody who meets a man who meets their wife, or a woman who meets her husband, I don't care what you say, like speaking 159,000 tongues and have 45 collars. It wasn't just because they were doing the work of the Lord. There was something that attracted you to them. Okay. Okay. Like we're not going to even do that. We're not going to do that. It was something that attracted you to them. And we don't speak to that. And that thing is going to be the thing that's going to keep you, because marriage, yes, it's a partnership, and it's purposeful and all of those things, but you actually still have to like the person. There's something that has to attract you to them, because there is the ministry side of it, but there's also the intimacy side of it. So hey, Peaches, how you coming in? And there's all of these different facets of it. So we can't act like, it's just like he was doing the work of the Lord, and I just fell in love with the type of man that he was, because he just prayed so eloquently, and he could lay hands, and he could touch the throne room of heaven. And my God, sis, he was cute. too. He was cute. He looked good in that suit, and you were smitten. Okay, like, the man of God is gonna say, like, oh, she's a woman of God and she's serving the community and she's doing this, that, and the third. Yes, but you may have gotten a peek of her legs. There is an attraction there, but that's not all to it. That's the whole point. And just going back, oh, my bad, Peaches. It has to be a well-rounded conversation. And I think that one of the things that we have to do in the church at large is we have to take back our stuff. Like, we know that the enemy, he works in a spirit of perversion. He wanted to be God from the beginning. So everything that God has instituted, the enemy has duplicated, and he's tried to replicate and make that be the norm. And there are things that we rebuke and disown that was never supposed to be for the spirit of darkness. It was supposed to be for us. And then we let darkness take it, and then we lost. Sex is not bad within the confines of what it's supposed to be in. Okay? A man and a woman married under the covenant of a union. It's fantastic. Outside of that, that's for the Lord to deal with. But we've made it so nasty and ugly and whatever. And I'll give you an example of just how we treat one another when it comes to, now let me just say, let me just say this, okay? There is a line. There is a line. Being sexy does not give you a pass to be out here just with, pushing the envelope, and saying that everybody has a problem because of the way that you dress. There's just a certain modesty, and modesty doesn't mean turtlenecks and long skirts down to your ankles with a veil on. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. But there's the sexiness that I'm talking about and that we're discussing is more of a mindset and a lifestyle rather than a piece of clothing and what you're trying to do. It's about what you're being. And there's a fine line. There have, been women, like, okay, for instance, there are some times where, like, I will put on something to go to church. Well, when outside was open and we go to church every Sunday, and I would look at myself, and there are some things where, because I'm a trendy dresser, like I don't do the, well, I didn't go up in church. So the uniform, as it were, and things like that, never been me. Okay. So, I dress fashionable. That's who I am. It's who I'm always be. But there are certain things that I'm like, no, and it wasn't something that was ratchet. It's just that while I know that I may carry sex appeal, right, because of who I am, and I'm not being haughty and I'm not being conceited, I know who I am. And because I know who I am, I know that there are certain things that I wouldn't necessarily wear because I don't want that attention. I don't want that attention. Okay. And there are women who purposely do it. And then when people have a problem, then it's like, well, you just not confident. No, you out here looking a bit raggedy and ratchet, and trying to project, how you are on people. Now, on the flip side, when you have people who are trendy and, whatever, those who do not know who they are can project incorrectly and ignorantly towards somebody. Like, you can't help who you are innately without opening up your mouth. Because again, sexiness is more about being than about doing. Okay. I'll give you an example. One time I was in a church, let's say a church, and I can tell you what I had on. I think I had on the turtleneck because it was fall winterish. I had on a turtleneck. I had on a skirt. The skirt was probably hitting my knees. And I had on some knee-high boots. Okay. I was going to show you the boot, what it looked like, but I ain't digging in my closet. Yeah, basically. And it was just a regular Sunday. I had on turtleneck, a skirt, and some boots, had on stockings. And somebody had made a comment to me about how I was trying to entice the men with my boots. Let me drink some water before I say any more. This lipstick, all right, I'm all over the place tonight. This lipstick, I just drank some water, and this lipstick is not. Y'all better go on Lipstick by Imani. I'm telling you, she's the truth. I'm about to have a whole photo shoot when I finish. So I'm looking at her like, how am I trying to entice the men with my boots on? Like, sis, it's cold. It's cold. It's cold. It was like November going on December. That I remember. Like, what? Now, my whole thing is, first of all, if you want to tell the whole truth, I have thigh-high boots. Okay? Boots that come all the way up to the thigh. Those were not the boots that I wore because that's not the place for them. They were to my knees. But it didn't have anything to do with me. It had to do with the way that she felt. And I know this because subsequently after, she would make comments about me being skinny. That's all I'm going to say. So there's this fine line. And I think that when we know who we are, we can just let people rock. We can let people rock. But we will know that fine line between being innately who we are and not being a stumbling block, because we still don't want to that's what it was. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. There's a fine line and there's a balance, but the whole point is that we have to take back our narrative. We have to take back what is normal. What is normal? I'm not talking about what's raunchy. I'm not talking about, being like the world and all. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, just who we are as beautiful human beings and owning it unapologetically, and not judging each other, and knowing that you do not have to have butt ball naked to be sexy. It's not sexy. I don't care what nobody say. It's not sexy. That is not sexy. It's raunchy. It's raggedy. It's ragged and ratchet. That's just what it is, because most men are not going to take that type of woman home. And I know that we live in a day and age where everyone is like, well, body image, and it doesn't have to be, and I can do what I want, and I can, go out here topless once a year and do all of this stuff, to show. Like, do you have to expose all of you to prove how much of a woman that you are? Or can you just be? And that is what Michelle Obama did. She didn't even do it on purpose. She didn't come out there to grab the attention of the entire world. She walked out there with her husband as the former first lady, as she should. Jennifer Lopez, the same. Her shirt was up to here. She had mad ruffles. You know, her blouse was a blouse. We don't even say blouse anymore. We don't. Does anybody say blouse anymore? We don't say blouse anymore. She had on a blouse. She had on wide leg slacks and a long coat that dragged or flowed behind her, rather. Yeah. Yeah, I can't even speak to the men and what that's about. I don't know. Yeah, and yeah, they won't take them seriously. But yeah, J Lo had on this beautiful blouse, and and these wide leg pants. Like wide leg pants was in. I'm about to go find mine and put them on if I don't walk anywhere but to the kitchen, because I have a pair. They're cream and they have cups. They're fabulous, and I feel like I need to go somewhere and put them on. But anyway, sexy. She walked out there with that Marine on her arm as he escorted her to the podium. And I mean, she owned her moment. And that is what sexiness is. That's all I'm trying to say. That's what sexiness is. It is not about the least that you can wear, the tighter it is. And this, honestly, it has to do with the Bible and it has to do with church, but I'm talking just period. Just period. You do not have to do that. You don't have to do that to gain the attention of a man. And if you want to gain the attention of a real man, you don't have to do that. I heard it. I'm telling you, I heard it myself last night from a man who I don't even know. I was just in a room and he was just dropping knowledge. Like these men, and again, I'm not talking about males, I'm talking about men. These men out here are looking for women of quality. Your stuff, our stuff, should be preserved for the only person that's supposed to see it. Not the whole world can say, like, yeah, I know exactly what you look like when the lights go off because you showed everything when the lights was on. That's not sexy. Now, if that's what you want to do, then, hey, that's on you. But when it comes to sexy is about confidence. It is about confidence. Now, this last thing, because, I'm 12 minutes over. Okay, so this last thing is being sexy and doing sexy, right? That's different. Being sexy is being who you are, being confident, okay? Being sure, being authentic. You've heard me talk about authenticity a lot. And it's because somebody said to me, they gave me a word some years ago, and they said, when you are authentic, it cannot be duplicated. It can't. Real can be duplicated because there's a lot of fake things that look real, but they're not. But when something is authentic, it cannot be duplicated. And I always use the example of a Louis Vuitton bag. Okay. I went to a Louis Vuitton store some years ago because I just wanted to go in because I want a bag. But if it ain't real, I ain't getting it. You will never, no shade to nobody else, but I could never go to Canal Street or anywhere else and give me a fake bag. If I can't buy it real, I don't want it. I don't want it. So I walked into the Louis Vuitton section. I think it was Saks Fifth Avenue. I was with somebody, and there was this Black woman there, and we was just looking at bags, and she just decided to give us a whole history lesson on, because I think we was bringing up the whole thing about like the bags downtown at Canal Street and things like that look just like the real thing. And she started talking about what makes the Louis Vuitton bag real. And I can't remember everything that she said, but one of the things that she said, one, there's something on the inside. There's some type of branding that's on the inside that cannot be duplicated by those who make fake bags. The other thing is the handle. So when I looked at Louis Vuitton bags, when I would see people with Louis Vuitton bags and their handles were brown and they were soiled, I used to think that those bags were fake because I'm like, the leather turned whatever, me and my ignorance, because actually that's how you know a Louis Vuitton bag is real. I'm talking about the camel color, not the brown color strap, the camel color strap. The thing is that strap is real leather and is made from some type of cowhide. And with leather, as you wear it, as you handle it, it's it changes color. It changes color, and that's how you know a Louis Vuitton bag is real. And there was some other things that she spoke to. I can't remember, but the things that she spoke to about this Louis Vuitton bag were things that you would not otherwise notice unless you were paying attention. And when people are paying attention to want the real thing, they're going to look. So you can go to another store and they might have designer bags. But if you want a Louis Vuitton bag and you're looking at how much it costs, you're going to look through that bag to make sure that everything that speaks to its authenticity is in that bag before you pay your money. And that's how we ought to be. When you are authentic, you're not trying to be anybody else. You stand firm and flat-footed in who you are, and nobody can shake you of that. And that is what sexiness is. It's an inner confidence of knowing who you are, whose you are, and there is nothing or nobody that can shift you, that can sway you, that can pull you, that can pluck you out of that. Nobody. No matter what they say, no matter how they act toward you, no matter what they say about you. You don't even have to respond to them. You just keep being you. There's a confident sexiness in that. And it has nothing no thing to do with sex. Okay. On the flip side, wait, let me see these comments. Michelle says, I'm a voluptuous woman and I never had to expose myself to feel sexy and beautiful. I am always confident in who I am and it is noticed by others. Let me tell you something, Michelle. Back in the day, I used to watch you and you was never off the wagon. You were so fly. I mean, not was like you not, but I mean, you was all yes, you would be an example of that sexiness because your spirit is sweet. You were modest. Not loud like I'm being now, and I have a mic. You was just about your business, just beautiful, just exquisite, and that's sexiness without you looking like, come look at all of this 36, 24, 36 I got going on. Like it wasn't like that about you. I'm this is the first time that I'm saying it to you, but yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Yes, authenticity cannot yes, yep, that's what she was talking about. So the other part of it is the doing sexy, right? That's when we're trying. Okay. It's as opposed to being confident in who you are when you're trying to be sexy instead of being sexy. It's really a reflection of who you are not. You don't know who you are because you're trying to overcompensate by the best asset that you have that you can put on display for human consumption. Okay. Yes, Sister Michelle. Yes, she did. She stepped through pure elegance. Yeah, so with being sexy, it's about confidence as opposed to trying to be sexy. It a lot of times can stem from low self-esteem and low self-worth. Again, trying to overcompensate or compensate for what you feel is lacking. Nobody said that you was lacking, but for what you feel is lacking. So you try to overcompensate it with things that are pleasing and to the eye to get the arousal, to get the attention that you want, because without that attention, you don't feel like you're much of anything. When I get up and I get dressed and I know that I'm popping, I'm saying to myself, like, sis, you popping. Nobody has to tell me that I'm popping. I done told myself already. This ain't one of the where two or three together gathered together. There I am in the midst, because the two is me and the Lord, and He know I'm popping because He made me. So when I'm looking good, I'm like, all right, I'm cute. I'm cute. I'm cute for me. I ain't cute for somebody to tell me that I'm cute, because if I was waiting for somebody to tell me that I was cute, I would be a wretch undone. I will be raggedy. I will be out here looking raggedy because I don't get compliments like that. Okay, and I'm this. Okay, this is not a plug. You ain't got to say nothing. I already know. My point is that I'm not, my purpose and my motive for looking good is to look good for me, to know that I'm putting my best foot forward. Okay. And then the doing it again, like I said, seeking approval because we in and of ourselves don't believe or even know who we are. So in conclusion, because I'm 21 minutes over time, sexy is about inner confidence. It's about knowing who you are. It's about standing in the truth of who you are. It's about owning who you are. It's about owning every room you walk into without being pretentious and being self-seeking and being an attention whore. Y'all blame it on the lipstick. I love this lipstick. Without being an attention whore. That's sexy. Sexy is not having to say that I'm sexy. It's not having to scream with my attire that I'm sexy. It's about your posture. It's about how you carry yourself. It's about how you demand not necessarily attention, but you demand respect. You demand respect, okay? And you can't you can't demand respect if you out here looking and acting raggedy. That's what sexy is. And it's my hope and my prayer that we can normalize it and put some language to it in the church at large, so that our young ladies can know as early as, it's permissible, that they are beautiful and that they are sexy. And contrary to what they see on Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok and YouTube and all of these social media places, you do not have to sell yourself short. Sell yourself at all. Sell your body. You don't have to sell sex to be sexy. It's a state of mind. It's an inner confidence. It's who you are innately, not who you're trying to be. Yes, commanding the room without words. I don't have to say anything. Again, it's not about being pretentious and haughty, and I got to look the best in the room. I got to make sure that out of everybody, I'm the one that's getting all of the shine. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you go out, you know that you look your best, not to be in competition with anybody else. That's not sexy. That's competition. Okay. And that's not cute. Okay. So I hope that us talking through this, we can feel empowered. We have a live, tangible example. Overall, we have our forever First Lady, Michelle Obama, who she completely slayed. She completely slayed holding the husband of the hand of her husband, and he was proud. I mean, they both were just in lockstep and stride. She just knew it. She just knew it, and she had the right to do that because of all of the month that was sling with her. I don't know if you guys remember seeing her 4 years ago at the inauguration of the last guy, and sis looked like she had it. She had it. She was completely through. She looked like she told all of her people, I don't want you to come doing my makeup. I'll do my own joint. I just want to get up out of here, because the racial tension and all of the stuff that was happening during their time in office, I can imagine. But when she came through this time, she said, no, I'm gonna let y'all know, no, I'm a Black woman, and I'm among the ranks of, is it Barbara Bush? I think Barbara Bush and Hillary Clinton. Yes, I'm a former first lady, and I'm a Black woman, and I rock. Okay, so we have that example. I know we have examples around us, women that we can learn from in with their attire, with their grace, their elegance, how they walk into a room. If you're young and you're watching this, there are women that can mentor you from afar. There are women that you can watch. There are women that you can glean from. Real tangible women. Please let us not look at social media, the TikToks and the Snapchats and those things as a source to be the roadmap to how we are to act. There's nothing cute about, I'm a woman and I can just, be out here loose, and I should be able to because it's my body and this and the third. That has to do with lawlessness, and people just want to live any old kind of way, and they don't want to have to answer to anybody. They don't want to have to answer to God. They want to live their life, and they want to do what they want to do. If you want to be a woman of substance, that is not the way that you would want to go. So I think those are my closing comments. That was a long closing, but anyway, getting back to what I talked about earlier. For those of you who came late, the lipstick that I am wearing is by she's not new, but it's a Black owned cosmetics line. It's called Lipstick by Imani. I think she lives in Texas. I met her last year when we were a vendor. We was both a vendor for another great Black platform called Troll Talk, and I was actually a guest on her podcast on IG Live called Table Talk, and we was talking about my book and stuff. So I ordered 2 of her lipsticks. So this is a lipstick. She has a matte collection. She has a gloss collection. What I'm wearing now is called Elegance. It's a matte. It is, I feel like, I can't even explain. Like, the lipstick is not, it's not thick. I put a very thin layer. I didn't have to apply twice. I did not line my lips with a chocolate lip pencil. The color is perfect. It's like a crimson, like for me, I feel like it's not too dark, but it's not too light. My lips are not dry. I have to do a test. My lips are not dry. I did moisturize my lips before, because matte lipsticks, just by nature, they dry your lips out, but I don't feel like my lips are cracking or anything like that. Like, I feel like I don't have on anything. And I drank some water, and I drink some water, and if you can see, there's absolutely no residue from this lipstick on this bottle. Okay. So this color is Elegance. This color is called Fierce. It is hot pink. I am wearing a hot pink lipstick. I don't know when, but I'm gonna wear a hot pink lipstick because, like I said, as Tabitha Brown said, that's my business. I feel like I should be able to wear a hot pink lipstick. I've never done that, and I feel like I should. So this is Matt as well, and she is, I think, at the end of the month, is in pre-order now. She's expanding her line, and she is doing eyeshadow palettes. So her first eyeshadow palette is called Vision Board, and the eye, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. It's for pre-sale, so it hasn't shipped yet. It hasn't officially launched yet. It's just pre-ordered. But from what I saw, the colors are beautiful. Everything that she does is about inspiration. She believes in beauty coming from the inside out. So her lipsticks, the names are inspirational names. So is her eyeshadow palette. And I mean, she's fantastic. So that is her website. You can follow her on Instagram. I am loving, I'm just loving this. I'm absolutely loving this lipstick. Um yes, it's not, yeah, I wouldn't wear shiny red lipstick. I feel like that's just too much. Yeah, it did not smudge at all. It did not smudge at all. I'm blotting, and I feel like I'm blotting my lips. Like when you rub your lips together, like I feel nothing. I feel absolutely nothing. I would see how long this wears, but I ain't about to be up all night. So, and I ain't sleeping in it. So I'll have to let y'all know that later, or you order your own and do your own test. She's on Facebook too. Oh, I didn't know that. Um, yes, I will put it on for you. Yeah, so that was that. That's her website. So go follow her. I'm gonna pre-order mine. That's gonna be my Valentine's Day gift to myself. And we'll talk about that next week. That's a good segue. So this is the end of January. So next month, which is basically in 2 days, the month of February, I am doing a series called Vowing Out Gracefully. So the whole entire month of February is going to be dedicated to those who have gone through divorce, those who may have been in long-term relationships and have suffered heartbreak. I am going to do a whole series for the 4 Saturdays in February, and we are going to unpack divorce, what that means, how it feels, what we go through, the misconceptions of divorce, and the things that we need to do to get over it, and to especially get through it, because you can't get over it, you have to get through it. And Yeah, I'm going to try to set up some interviews and things like that. And it's going to be good because February is the month of love. And I don't know how many people celebrate Valentine's Day. I'm not a Valentine's Day type of woman or whatever. But I wouldn't put past triggers, because triggers can pop up at any time, right? So a lot of people, you're going to be seeing things on social media. Everybody's in love, and they have their flowers, and they're Godiva chocolates, and they're chocolate covered strawberries, and their gifts, and all of those things. And it can be a trigger. It can be a trigger. If you're single and you thought you was getting married and it didn't work out, or if you got married and it didn't work out, and now you're sitting here I was about to say Thanksgiving, another Valentine's Day, and you are not with anybody. It's still quote unquote cuffing season. We in COVID. It's cold outside. Can't go nowhere. We stand at the wall watching TV, and people tired of being by themselves. And people, still not dealing with their hurt and their pain and the things that they've gone through and things like that. So we're going to unpack all of that, because I want to see us whole. So we're not out here making dumb decisions like I have made in my past that I'm not afraid or ashamed of. Because it's a learning curve, right? I don't want us out here being trapped and being coerced, and getting into things that's not going to suit us because of pain. So we're going to do that in February. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. Thank you for kicking it. Thank you for those of you on Facebook, YouTube. Thank you so much for your conversations, for your comments. For those of you who are catching the replay, please feel free to leave your comments. If you have any questions that you want to ask, or you want me, anything, topics that you want me to talk about next month, shoot me a message, inbox me, DM me, and I'll see about adding those topics, because I really want to hit the bullseye for those who are really looking to figure this thing out. I'm not speaking from a clinical standpoint. I'm speaking from an experiential standpoint, because I've gone through it, and they both have their place. But in my opinion, it's easier for a clinician or a counselor to speak to something that they've never gone through, and it's harder for somebody who has gone through it to talk about it, because there's the stigma, there's guilt, and there's shame around it, and all of that. And that's why a lot of people don't have the help that they need, because nobody is talking about it, because we are all still, and I say we as a collective, we are still ashamed of the divorce, and ashamed of it not working, and feeling like failures and things like that, and it's hitting guilt and all of that stuff. So I want us to speak to that. So if you know anybody who is going through a divorce, has gone through a divorce, I'm not going to ask you to tag them, okay? Because there are some people that may watch in silence. There are others that may wait for the whole thing to happen and then watch it later, when they can handle it in privacy, okay? So, let's be, and I'm going to speak to that. Let's be mindful, and let's use wisdom when we're trying to help people who are hurting, because sometimes we can do more damage than not when we're trying to help. And it's not intentional, but we just don't know the pulse of how the person is hurting and how they're going through what they are going through. So just tell them about it. Encourage them to tune in, whether live or later. I just want us to be healed, because I've been in some rooms, and I've been a part of some conversations, and there are way too many people who have gone through divorce. Like, it's crazy. It's just crazy, because I know I'm gonna say this, and I'm going to hey bro, we gotta set up something. Bro. Thanks for tuning in. We have to we gotta talk about it. We gotta talk about it, because there's so many people that are hurting. I mean, it was like I'm in these rooms on Clubhouse about dating and relationships and things like that, and it's like every other person is talking about how they're divorced, and I'm like, all of these people have gone through all of this trauma. It's traumatic. All right. I'm not going to get into it. I'm gonna reserve all of that for next week. Thank you for tuning in. It's cold in New York, so stay warm, drink your water, wear 2 masks now that they say. Be careful, mind your business, help somebody, love somebody, reach out to somebody, show somebody you care. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for kicking it with me, and I will see you all next week by the grace of God. Peace out.